We understand an upside-down world, but they're writing us off before we get to the starting line. A stalled generation? Who do you think is gonna fix all this? We will, because our future is the future. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day, and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more, because we have an appointment with destiny.
What's happening, sports fans? We welcome you back to another episode of San Diego Prep Insider. Christian Pedersen, Bodie De Silva celebrating Padres opening day here. And look, hey, we get it that they're good and everything, but we've been celebrating baseball for a couple weeks here on this show, and baseball has been rewarding us back for a couple weeks. Dave Ring is off today. He has family staying at the house, so he has to go take care of that. But he sends along some of his dingers. We're going to talk about some of his top 10s, got some game balls. I got a commitment on commitment on you know, Bodie, that I am extremely compromised when it comes to my journalistic integrity. So anytime any kid commits to go play baseball at UCLA, you know that has to make the show. We got all that going on that we're going to talk about, but we're joined, as always, by Scorebook Live's Bodie De Silva. He is the head baseball person that he did the Hunger Games internally at that company, and he came out with the job of being in charge of baseball nationally for high school sports. So he's a pretty big deal. You can download the SB Live Sports app or check out everything there at scorebooklive.com. Bodie, let's start with the top 10. You like to still read off the top 10 as you ranked it at the beginning of the week, but our show recording on a Thursday, largely being consumed on a Friday through Saturday basis, I think this is also more open to a reactionary kind of how the week is going top 10, but yeah. I will let you go 10 to 1, 1 to 10, however you would like to it. Scorebook Live's top 10, Bodie De Silva.
Yeah, rather than saying what they did last week, I'll just kind of bring up what they've done this week. And I know rain once again is limiting us. Hopefully this is the last week where that will occur. But Granite Hills began the week at number 1. There was no change for me, but they lost their game the other day to Grossmont. Shout out to Grossmont. That's a huge win for them. They came up big when they needed to, and it just kind of shows it's just because you're number 1 doesn't mean you can't get picked off now. This is Granite's second loss. Both of them are to unranked teams. So on the right day, anyone can go down there. La Costa Canyon there at number 2. Their lone loss is to Granite Hills, but they've shown they're a very good team. They came back in extra innings the other day and took down San Marcos. Rancho Bernardo is there at number 3. They did take their first loss of the week. They played 2 games earlier in the week. They beat Torrey Pines at home and then got walked off the following day against Torrey Pines. So that league this year is going to be so tough. La Costa, Rancho Bernardo, Torrey Pines, Carlsbad, maybe the surprise of the entire section, and San Marcos and Poway are teams you're never going to be able to sleep on either. Montgomery, speaking of surprises in the section, they're undefeated. They were trying to play Eastlake yesterday. They moved the game up because both of them are on spring break. They tried to get that game in at 11, 2 innings in, the rain hit. So that one was unfortunately not able to be completed. So Montgomery at 4, Eastlake there at number 5. I think those 2 are right neck and neck. And there might be a gap, I think, from 5 on. I know Torrey Pines did just beat Rancho Bernardo, but that top 5 right now is looking really good. And you can't say without Carlsbad there, they are now 10-0. They just keep rolling. They haven't played any of those top 5 teams, so that's kind of the only question in my mind. But I think Carlsbad, when you look at this roster, they've got sophomores through seniors all contributing throughout the lineup, and the pitching staff's been excellent. Number 7, St. Augustine. I don't believe, or they did play earlier this week. They did get a game in. Christian had a walk-off win against Del Norte. They're at number 8 for me. Cathedral Catholic at number 9, and then Torrey Pines at number 10. They are now 6-2, 1-1 this week, and they handed Rancho Bernardo their first loss. So I will, for the first time, mention the other teams I'm kind of watching because there's a lot of good ones just outside. Maranatha Christian in the Coastal League this year. I think that's going to be a huge addition for the league as a whole. And I think Maranatha is in a place where they can win it in their first season. Santa Fe Christian, Francis Parker, La Jolla Country Day, they're all at a level where Maranatha is going to step in and be able to compete from day one. Scripps Ranch, Mission Hill, Santana, Mount Carmel are the next teams I'm looking at. Mount Carmel's another surprise so far. They just had a combined no-hitter the other day, so that's a big deal.
The only thing that is a surprise about Mount Carmel and Maranatha is that you just didn't listen to last week's show when we were talking about Maranatha exactly. And Mount Carmel are off to a hot start. No, hey, I fully agree with you. I want to bring up that Ian Fisher is respect on that, Nate. Congratulations, Ian, on committing to UCLA
as a sophomore. Huge deal.
Yes. That second UCLA commit in 2 years from Carlsbad Baseball. The others receiving votes category / through the 6. I disagree with you a little bit on 1 through 5 being a delta above everybody, just because look at Grossmont beating Granite. That's I think 1 through 25 is kind of all could beat. I say this seriously. I think we are looking at, we're finding some D2, 3, 4 teams that have an ace. They have that one lineup that could, hang in a game. I like Scripps Ranch a lot in terms of the, the rest of how everybody else is doing. I think that Valhalla is a team that I've got my eyes on in terms of some of the lower down divisions. I think that the, Bishops, we talked about them. Oceanside, I think, is another team I want to get in on the discussion early about how well they are doing. Parker has some big wins. Parker beat Script. To me, it's crazy deep. It's starting to flush out a little bit more, though. I'm thinking we still need maybe 2 or 3 more weeks until all the kind of the races are solidified. But yeah, I am largely starting to agree with you on who the top 8 are. It's just a different permutation and just a different order.
And I think what's really interesting and exciting about it is a lot of leagues began league play this week. Unfortunately, some of them weren't able to get in maybe just 1 game instead of 2 or 3. But next week, the entire county takes a break for the Lions tournament. A lot of schools are going to have spring break. We're going to get a lot of cross-league, cross-conference action, whether it's Christian playing Torrey Pines or La Costa going down to Santana. These teams that are all trying to get into the top 10, keep their spot, whatever it is, kind of get these wins. Who's going to go 4-0? Who's going to get 3-1 and pick off 2 top 10 teams along the way? So that helps a lot. Always love the tournament. It's a huge deal, and you get just about every team in the county participating.
Make sure you download the Scorebook Live app or visit scorebooklive.com for tons of Lions tournament coverage. Is there 1 or 2 other plot lines, just team-wise, that you might be watching in the next couple weeks of tournament play?
I feel like we've had a few more no-hitters early on than I was kind of expecting. I know Cooper Walls from La Costa Canyon, and we've had some combined ones as well. I just mentioned Mount Carmel. Cathedral Catholic just had a combined one against Francis Parker the other night. So I don't know if it's maybe pitchers are just ready to go a little bit earlier than everyone else, but it seems like that's maybe a tick higher early on.
I would also throw in there Nico Visca from Central Union through a no-hitter.
Yeah.
Let's add that in there as well. Lefty sophomore that has, obviously achieved, like you said, the pitching definitely ahead. Bodie, let's talk about some game balls, though, from the last week that are not pitching related. Maybe you got an offensive 1 or 2. I know we had some walk-offs with, you said, Torrey Pines getting a big walk-off a couple days ago. We've started to see some home runs coming out, not necessarily having anybody sprint out ahead this year with like a 5 or 6 early out the gate, but I think the numbers are starting to come up. So who are some guys that maybe deserve your game balls this week?
Yeah, just going through the list I put together earlier this week. Jet Kennedy from Carlsbad, sophomore shortstop for them. Also a big-time contributor on their basketball team, so the rare baseball, basketball. One season ends, jump right into the other. But on their game last week, 4 for 5 with a grand slam, drove in 6 runs. He's hitting 500 through 10 games on the season, so it comes a point where it's not too small of a sample size anymore. Brandon Jackal, we've mentioned him from Steel Canyon, continues to get it done. 1 hitter, struck out 11 in 6 innings last week in their win. Jordan Green from Scripps Ranch, 2 for 3, 2 runs batted in, and 3 stolen bases in their win over Olympian. So anytime you get 2 or 3 stolen bases in a game, I'm always paying attention there. Maybe they know there's a catcher they're going to take advantage of, but love getting the free 90 there. And Anthony Gonzalez from Montgomery, 1 hit shutout in their win against Coronado last week. And then finishing up, Josh Roybal, 2 hit shutout against Mira Mesa last week, struck out 9 in the 2-0 victory. So not just a shutout, but a dominant one where you're missing bats.
Left and right. I love it. Absolutely. Yeah. All about those chairs. All about throwing that. If you guys have clips, remember, submit them to SD Prep Insider on Twitter and on Instagram. We will get those posted. Bodie, man, I'm curious for you right now, opening day versus how well this high school season is going. Which one gets a little bit more of your excitement? Because this has been a pretty exciting high school season so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little different because we are into the high school season now. I'll take opening day for today, but next Monday's opening day for Lions tournament. So you got in a 4 or 5 day stretch, two big opening days.
You have games coming back to Petco Park as well this year, yes?
Yeah, I was just I haven't seen the full schedule, but yeah, who was I seeing? I know Carlsbad and Lacoste is going to play one of their games there. Modern Day Catholics got a game there, so it's a rotating thing. All the conferences are going to get it
after Lions tournament.
It is going to be right about a month from now. I know the Lacoste and Carlsbad game, I believe, is Saturday, April 29th. So it's usually that Friday, Saturday, 3 games on each day, and an awesome experience. I mean, I love just seeing the teams play, let alone I'm not out there on the field. And you always get a bunch of triples because anything into the gap there, it's a little different for the outfielders to handle.
Speed kills. Look for the big triple numbers to go. All right, so put that on your 2 things to put on your calendars, high school baseball fans. Next week is the start of the Lions tournament. About a month from now, we'll be having our San Diego games being played at Petco Park. Very exciting. Bodie, thank you as always for joining us. Anything that we didn't get to in this week of high school sports or anything that you got going on Scorebook Live you need the people to check out?
Yeah, keep an eye out. I was Major League Baseball opening day. I'm going to do a whole list of all the guys from California, former standouts, whether it was the big high schools, the small high schools. I'm always learning about a town I may not know of that they produced their one major leaguer. And it just goes to show in baseball, Sergio Romo was a great case, just retired after 15 years, 2 different junior colleges, 2 different Division II stops, and pitched 15 years, 3 World Series. So no matter what the journey is, you can get there.
Brawley Union proud. Go Wildcats. Yes, definitely. Bodie, thank you very much. Go check out everything he's doing. Dave Ring will be back with us in studio next week. I promise we'll be back up to full speed. And like Bodie said, it's going to be spring break, so we will have plenty of teams coming in studio. Make sure you guys follow us and subscribe to the YouTube at SD Prep Insider. Thank you very much for checking in. We'll see you guys next week.